Somewhere between, depending on the mission set, call it 50 to 80.
50 to 80.
Yeah.
So what I would say is a lot of your training for locomotion training, which I'll get into exactly what that means in a second, you should be training on average with 80 to 100 pounds of gear weight. That does mean putting extra shit. And obviously when you're training, you just wear one of those, a ton of companies make excellent weight vests. Yep. You can put, all kinds of weights in them. Why not train with 150 pounds? Because then the movement you're doing is so much slower that it no longer has specificity to that application. And when you go with actual gear in combat, you're like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, and you're like, I didn't train for this. I'm getting to places way faster, and my transitions aren't the same. It also beats the living shit out of your joints, so you have to be concerned with like, okay, I'm not going to strap a barbell to myself and 225 and then do all the tactical drilling. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, so you want to stay close to that typical gear weight, but a little bit on the high end, so that you're training in a chronic worst case scenario. The most gear on me possible with the most demanding physical tasks, such that when you've emptied half your clips already and lost something off of yourself, and you have to move from building to building to building, you're running and you're like, holy shit, this is easy. Ideally, you want to think actual combat engagements are easier than your training in a physical sense. Obviously, the mental side is totally different. Correct? Any of that off base?
No, I mean, so I agree and disagree to a certain extent. I agree, absolutely. Loading heavy, it makes you better when you decrease load is on you. But if those guys are gearing that up, say you're on deployment and you're doing that same thing 7 days a week, by the time you come home, you're so zapped. So a lot of it, it's building up to it. It's building the tolerance. And a lot of the stuff we do in work is incline weighted treadmill walks. You'd put on your kit, you'd slap on a gun, you'd slink behind you, and you'd watch ESPN and walk on an incline trying to get ready for Afghanistan. You'd still sprint, you do weight vest on and all that other kind of stuff, because guys have so many different types of injuries, a lot of lower body, a lot of shoulders, a lot of this. It's training for the actual event itself with leaving a little bit in reserve, but understand what your true threshold is, because a lot of people, they only train slick. And now when you throw on that weight vest, they don't have the reps in it. Now it feels foreign, and especially as it translates to CQB, not just your proprioception, but just your overall body awareness. How far is that pouch sticking out? How far is this buttstock sticking out? If you're not training in that, I'll go to collapse my sector and I'll grind the back of my plate carrier against this wall and I'll make so much noise. I can never get those decimals back in real life.
Yes.
So I like it for that aspect, being super comfortable in your gear. That's your work suit, man.
Yes.
That's your business attire. It should fit you exactly to you, your exact specifications. Shoulder mobility, I've got to move my pouch up 1 molly space.
Yes.
Do all of those things. Yeah. And then we do the same thing like when we grapple. Like they used to bring in BJ Penn and those guys in the back and they'd grapple in plate carriers. Like get used to that. You ever had a 200-pound dude lay on top of you, have plates on?
Yeah, that sucks.
It's uncomfortable, dude.
So basically the advice is, yes, do all that stuff, slightly overweighted, but if you're training a lot and you're new to it, you gotta do a lot of stuff light and then some stuff heavier and work up into it.
Build into a repeatable cadence, and that's the one thing I try to tell everybody, consistency will get you farther than anything else.
Yes.
If you set out a training plan you can only maintain for 6 weeks, and then you think you'll hold on to that for the next 6 years, you won't.
No.
But if you chip away at it and you make a repeatable cycle where you don't know it's no different than waking up and brushing your teeth. Now it's just part of your day. I'm training for the end state. I'm training for the end state. Why do you do that? Because it makes me better at that.
Yep.
Why do you do that mindset drill? Because it makes me better at that.
Yes.
If everything is for that same objective, you can justify it really, really easy. Same thing with recovery and everything else.
Yes.
Like, why are you taking a break? Because I need my optimal physical presence to do that job.
Yes.
I am taking a day off because of that.
Ego hasn't entered the equation yet, and I wonder why.
Not yet.
Nothing to do with it, really. Like you're trying to engineer yourself to become a combat machine.
Yes.
And the combat machine has several demands. Your body is made of flesh and blood, so you have to attend to the fact that it is limited in its adaptive capability. And you basically have to, like the North Star is combat robot, you're down here with mushy humans, and you got to kind of take little stabs at it and come back.
Yep.
Stab it, it'll come back. Stab it and come back. And over weeks, months, and years, you get to a level where you're like substantially closer to like cyborg level.
Because there's such a physical taxation nobody ever talks about, and really what you're trying to do is optimize your bandwidth. Processing information is the hardest thing to do. It's extremely hard to do when your heart rate's at 190. You can't breathe. You can't climb up 1 more flight of stairs, but you still have to go up 10 more flights and then make it a really high-level executive decision at the very top. Taxation can't be ignored. You're so exhausted, you don't give a fuck. Like, just shoot me and get this thing over with.
Yes.
And that's how people get. It's like, think about walking with 80 pounds of shit on for 4.5 hours, 3 points of contact in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
now hit the house. now process all these women and kids and all these fighters and all this other stuff. All this information's running through. And if your physical preparation hasn't been done, it's going to collapse on itself.
Yes.
So that's why we train that, is because it gives me the bandwidth to process all the other information that doesn't have a physical component.
So you're in such good shape that you're not limited by your physicality anymore. And now you're just like, wow, this is a Tuesday. I can process all the executive stuff I need to. Awesome. And then so locomotion just occurs in a few different types. There's people saying, okay, training for locomotion, it must be all kinds of different kind of shit. I have to be a fucking circus performer. There's rapid locomotion, which is like running really quickly, jumping onto stuff. Sustained locomotion, which is basically either rucking or just jogging. There's navigating obstacles. You got to get used to getting through some obstacles with your gear. It's going to happen in real life. And you should be training at least to some extent on moving external loads, moving obstacles, moving humans, moving weapon systems, so on and so forth. If you don't have experience dragging a human, it sucks a lot worse than it looks. Like 185 pound barbell, you can grab it and run with that motherfucker. 185 pound person, you're like, but he's so low on the ground. And you try to pull him and you're like, oh, friction's a physical force. And he's not helping me because he's passed out. Yep. This is all bad news. So you got to get some of that kind of work. So far, so good?
Yep.
Combat. So far we have, you got to train something for whole body strength power. Some kind of locomotion training. With no guns involved. Regular folks can do this. Mm-hmm. Then there's direct combat training. So grappling, which includes takedowns and restraint, especially for police officers. You have to know how to do takedowns. Well, I suppose, like, I'm not talking about police department hiring requirements in the United States, because you don't have to do any of this shit. But I don't want to go on a limb and say maybe you should have to, but we're gonna take that whole administrative thing and wipe it clean. As an individual police officer listening to this, how good do you want to be at your job? If the answer is as good as possible, you're going to want to be really, really proficient with taking people down and restraining them. Mostly because if you can't take down a suspect that's really giving you a lot of problems and you can't restrain them, there are only a few contingencies you have. One is deploy taser. Those don't work as well in real life nearly as people expect. No. It's also, as soon as you deploy your taser on one person, you can't deal with anybody else. Some people don't, they just shrug off the taser, sufficient layer of clothing, like leather jacket, taser doesn't work. People die when they get tased. That's a lot of paperwork. Yep. After taser, you have call backup, but you should be in comms all the time anyway. The thing is, backup could be so far away that you got 5 minutes, just you and this guy in a Walmart aisle. Mm-hmm. That's it. No one else is coming to help you. So backup's kind of like a ghost, you know? When it finally shows up, hey, it's all good. But until it shows up, you got to be ready for that shit. So far, so good. Yep. And then if taser doesn't work, it's your weapon. And that's a lot of paperwork. And also moral conundrum. Like, if there's someone clearly on meth that is otherwise a decent human being, being able to single leg them, switch them over, put them in handcuffs, they just have a rough night in jail. And then later they're like, dude, I'm so sorry. You're like, yeah, just lay off the meth. Mm-hmm. That's the guy you know. It's Jim from your community. This is a very different story and very different dreams you'll have for the next 10 years of your life. If Jim has a razor blade in a Walmart and he's still on meth and you can't competently take a person down because you're not confident in that skill set, or you try and he kind of just, his shirt comes off and he shrugs you off because he wrestled for a year or something, you might have to shoot Jim to death. That's Jim from down the street. You're going to be thinking about Jim a lot. If the police clears you for coming back to service, you may never be a cop again. Not all police shootings go so well for the police officer. So far, so good? Yep. Grappling's a big deal. Yes, I am a jiu-jitsu brown belt, et cetera, so I seem biased. But, like, I watch a lot of body cam videos, my wife and I, as a hobby. I talk to a lot of police officers. Police work in relatively high crime areas is really like a running start grappling competition. 9 times out of 10.
The fact it's not mandatory blows me away.
Insane. So there's going to be a lot of grappling, folks. Yep. Striking. Mostly striking is reserved for people in combat operations. Mm-hmm. I think it's like some combination of illegal or unethical for police to strike someone. Some kind of emergency kind of leg kick situation might be a situation, pushing, etc. But grappling really takes care of most of the combat hand-to-hand you'll have to do as a cop. Agreed, disagreed? How much striking proficiency do we want out of patrol officers?
I mean, in a perfect world, it's better to have and not need.
Definitely, for sure.
Not have. I don't know all the laws and legalities you have to go to, but I know for creating space, strikes definitely work, kicks definitely work, push kicks definitely work.
T-bing
and if they don't have them, and a lot of people, they think they'll elevate up to a certain standard, be able to perform it. In my opinion, you won't. And what humans naturally do, they grab you. So now,
yes,
you can be the world's best striker. If you shoot in on a double and I pick you up over your fucking head, it's kind of over for you. Like, in my opinion, if you only had to have one, grappling's the best solution for those guys.
Yes. So grappling, super important. Then we have competency with handheld weaponry. I mean, yeah, with a police officer, that means the baton. That's it. You're not allowed to cut people.
Are they still carrying batons?
Usually not.
Yeah.
So very situationally dependent.